hard work, sacrifice, and when the opportunity comes, preparation and attitude will fuel your rise to the top.
On today's program, we are joined by an accomplished writer, college professor, Frankfurt author, Dr. David Shabazz.
But guys, we got a good one tonight, y'all. We got a good one tonight. I've been trying to get him for a long time. Been trying to get him for a while. Yeah. Yeah, we got him. He's here. Mr. David Shabazz.
Read the amazing stories of the select few Black professional wrestlers who became world heavyweight champions. Pro Wrestling's Black World Champions. Get your copy today on Amazon or visit davidlshabazz.com to order your copy today at bookstores worldwide.
Dr. David L. Shabazz, how are you feeling tonight?
I'm great. Thank you so much. And I appreciate that preview. That was wonderful.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Man, I don't even know where I want to, because you sent me, I was telling you earlier, you sent me on a rabbit hole. You sent me down the deepest of rabbit holes. Man,
They're saying they can't hear you, that you're a little bit quiet, Kenny.
I just turned it up. Hold on. How about now? Is that better? I should be louder, but I should not be peaking. But go up higher? What about now? Is that better? Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Like I said, you sent me down the a monster of rabbit holes. But we're gonna start the way we always do. This one I will tell you guys, this one we don't normally do like question and answer style interviews. This one will be a little bit more question based, just simply because there are some questions that I feel that I would be remiss if I didn't ask. First question, just right off the bat, man. When did David L. Shabazz fall in love with wrestling?
Oh man, since a kid, wrestling was in my blood. I mean, my family watched pro wrestling. My mother's mom. So I mean, it was just in the family. We were brought up, me and my brother, we were brought up watching wrestling. We didn't have a choice. So yeah, I've been fans all my life.
Yeah, that's kind of like me. My great grandmother was a wrestling fan. And so, and then my grandmother on my dad's side was a wrestling fan. And my dad, not so much, although he did do security for some of the wrestlers when they came in town. But his brothers, one of his brothers are a wrestling fan to this day. And then there's me. But yeah, when you say it's in your blood, that sentiment, I understand. I understand.
My family wasn't a wrestling family. My brother, on the other hand, he was, then wasn't, and now he's back into it with actually working with indie wrestlers.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Junkyard Dog used to come to my grandmother's house. When he was in town. And so while we had a relationship, the family had a relationship with Junkyard, we didn't necessarily have a relationship with like the rest of the organization. But my stepson actually went to Reality of Wrestling in Houston. He ended up taking a really bad bump and getting hurt. Yeah, he went for a good little spell. I actually, you did an interview about 2 years ago with Stevie Ray that you and I talked about, and one of the time I called Reality of Wrestling twice while he was there.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
The first time Stevie Ray picked up, I didn't really realize it was Stevie Ray picking up the phone until I listened to your interview. and just the aura he gives off, that I'm a man. You know what I mean? That's
him.
that I was like, oh, that's who I was talking to. And then the second time I called, I ended up on the phone with Booker T. But I knew it was Booker T when I was talking to him, because I tell this story all the time. When I went one time when I went to a house show, Booker T took my phone because you're not allowed to. Well, at least back then, and they were they don't really enforce it now, but back then you could not be taking video of what's going on in the ring. And here I am with my phone, just, and they trying to get Booker T in a 3-piece suit to do the spinner room. It won't last time.
He's like, nope, nobody's gonna record that.
And that man got out of the ring, walked over to my seat, and took my phone.
That would have been something to see.
Oh man.
At least you got a good story out of it.
I did get the, some of the photos and videos, because at that time, Samsung Cloud would automatically upload your photos and videos to Facebook. And so,
oh wow.
And so then this was before it was even called Samsung Cloud. It was called something else back then. But yeah, it would automatically upload your photos and videos to Facebook. So Facebook has some of that stuff. But man, let's jump right into it because I know I only have you for a little while. Let's start with names like Bobo Brazil and Bearcat Wright, man. How did you know these names prior to working on this project, or was this something that you introduced to as you were doing your research?
It broke up a little bit on me, but I think I got the gist of the question. Bobo was definitely somebody that I knew about. I knew vaguely Bearcat Wright because my brother had been doing a lot of the research on these wrestlers. He was the real historian. He was the if we call it the scholar historian, that was him.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I'm more of a scholar social critic. I look at things from that particular angle to criticize them. I'm not as much as the historian that can just roll off dates and
right,
names and that kind of stuff like he could. Because I look for moments, and those moments are the thing that really impact me. So with this, Bearcat Wright basically being the first Black person to win some version of a world heavyweight title. That is what really attracted me to learn more about him and about his story. Bobo Brazil was definitely someone who won the most respected title of all time, the NWA World Heavyweight title. Although it was a gimmick match and the organization did not recognize his win. So most people probably know the universally recognized first Black person to win the championship is Ron Simmons with the WCW heavyweight title. But you can't take away from Bobo's accomplishments or Bearcats. And, when I spoke to Ron, he had nothing but great things to say about them as well. He's obviously proud of his legacy and
right.
and wants that to be known. But he had nothing but, praise for, all of those trailblazers who came before him.
So in anytime that I hear Ron in an interview, he's always talking about he's gonna bring up Bobo at some point. He's gonna bring up Bobo at some point. And that's how I initially knew the name. Because Ron Simmons always, when you talk about his legacy, when you talk about how like he when you ask him questions about who his people were that he looked up to, Bobo was gonna be on that list, if not the top of it. Like that's how I knew that name.
Right.
And in that rabbit hole, I would be remiss if we didn't talk about Ethel Johnson.
Yes.
Ethel, I watched. There's a match on YouTube for Ethel, and outside of just Black wrestling, when we talk about women's wrestling in general, like I told you when we were off air, it seems like we were at a point where it seems like we were at a point where women were in the ring wrestling and fighting just like the men were. And then we took the women and we went, 10 times backwards, and it all became about bra and panty matches and in-ring porn.
Yeah.
And now we're slowly starting to go back to the way, and that made me really think about the women's revolution, because we're thinking that the women never got a chance to fight, really, and now they're starting to get recognized and stuff. But no, back in the 50s, women's wrestling was really a thing, and these men were in that match. There was not a man sitting down in their seat. They were all standing watching this match, and the women were pulling off moves that the men were they were actually wrestling. So I'm like, when did this happen? Like, when did we decide that they weren't good enough anymore? Like that, it really speaks.
I'll give you 3 words of why the women weren't allowed to do the stuff that they were allowed to do. Vince Kennedy McMahon. Wait, 4, Junior.
I agree with that.
Because Triple H wasn't stopping them from going.
Yeah, that's true.
With NXT, he didn't stop them. He encouraged it.
And now we got women like Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Naomi,
all 3 doing amazing things.
Even somebody like a Jada Parker, who people don't want to give respect to, but in my book, she's earned that. Like,
no, she's doing an amazing job down in developmental.
She's she's going to be a star as long as she takes her time in the developmental process.
They just don't need to push her too quickly. Like, they need to let her stay and get her bearings and fully learn the ring psychology and everything before trying to throw her up on the main roster.
I agree. I agree 100%. I hope that they don't. I hope that they don't. I hope they realize what they have and nurture that, because she looks good in the ring. She can work a mic. She has it. You know what I mean? She has it. Like the American Dream would say, baby, she has it. But it needs to be nurtured so that when she gets to that main stage, she doesn't. She doesn't.
She needs just a little polishing.
Yeah. Like you can't come on national TV. You can't come on national TV on the main stage and be throwing the N-word. It just don't happen. I get it. You are very passionate about what you do. You get caught up in the moment, and then the real Jada comes out. I understand.
That is one of the few downsides of like some of the wrestlers who use their real names as their in-ring names, is they blur the line of the character versus the actual person.
And as long as she is using her real name, it's very hard for her. The in-ring psychology that you were talking about, yes, it's going to be really hard for her. So, but back to the book. What inspired you to write this book?
Wow. What inspired me to really write the book is this is the 3rd edition, so I have to give a little history.
Mm-hmm.
My brother Julian wrote this book back in 2009 as a more of an ebook. And actually, before that, one of the wrestling magazines, I want to say it was Kayfabe magazine. I may be wrong, but they commissioned him to write an article about the Black wrestling champions. And so his book grew out of that article, and it was about 13 wrestlers at the time. It's probably about roughly about 40 pages. He had, he had 13 wrestlers in there, a lot of photos in there that pushed it to about 40 pages. And when I saw that, my brother, when he passed in 2020, I ran across that book. And I thought, wow, okay, this would be a good opportunity for me to, just kind of further his legacy, pay some homage to him. And especially since there had been more Black heavyweight champions, it was a good way to actually update that book with a purpose.
Right.
So I did that in 2002. And there have been a few more wrestlers since then, and there were some who were omitted is not a fair word to say. There were some of the females in there who were not put in that second edition, and I had my rationale for that because they were in the WWE, and the promotion itself did not call them world champions.
Right.
They called, like, she was Sasha Banks at the time, Mercedes Moné. She was like the Raw champion. And like Naomi was like the SmackDown champion. I'm like, okay, who is the women's champion? Not a brand champion, not an NXT champion, who is the champion? And since they didn't identify them as that at the time, I did not put them in there because, if you don't put certain limits somewhere,
I get it.
Everybody on everything.
That's understandable.
Now they have revised it and they've recognized, I think it was Raw that they turned it into the WWE Women's Champion. I think SmackDown, now they call that one the WWE Women's World Champion. So now they're recognizing them. So they're in this third edition.
Right. And so that's what made quote unquote Kofi Mania so special. Because that was when they brought back the world title for, that was when they brought back the world title, and then we had a Black man win it.
Yes.
Kofi Mania. As a matter of fact, you guys can't see it, but that title that you saw behind me before I put the green screen up, that has the Black world title still in the case. Yeah, Kofi Mania was a time you had to beat up. Like, I'm still salty about how it ended.
We don't talk about that. I don't like that wrestler. I've let it be very, very vocally known that I don't like him.
Well, he's not winning any awards here in my house anyway. So
I'm being on my best behavior. There are so many things that I've said about him in the past.
Was there a specific moment? Was there an identifying factor? I mean, carrying the torch for your brother. I love that idea.
That's actually an amazing amazing thing to do.
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, if I was in your position, I probably would have tried to do the same thing. I just may not have the wherewithal to be able to put pen to paper like that. But I definitely commend you on that sentiment. That is amazing that you were able to do that.
It was easier for me as a writer myself.
Mm-hmm.
and I was there with him from day one. One thing that people don't know, I'm actually saying this here for the first time. The very first copies of his Black Stars of Professional Wrestling in 1999, I actually printed those copies. Those copies were done at Kinko's, comb binding, before it became big enough and started selling, and we got it perfect bound. So yeah, his name was there, but I've been with him from day one.
For you new cats that may not know what a Kinko's is, back in the day, before they were absorbed by FedEx, they used to be, you used to couldn't go to a FedEx place to get stuff copied and bounded. You had to go to an actual office place, and the most popular one was Kinko's. And you could get, let's say, and a lot of you college kids know this painstake. Let's say you're writing a dissertation. You know Kinko's very well if you was writing a dissertation.
Right.
Oh, my boss still calls FedEx Kinko's. I'm like,
oh, my mom too.
Like when she tells me to send, she's like telling me she'll tell me to send something to Kinko's. I'm like,
Kinko.
Okay. I was like, she was like, yeah, it's the FedEx downtown. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like I understand it was like, you can't get out of the habit of calling it like calling it what it was when you first started your business and you were using them for all your printing stuff. I understand.
You could come out of there. You could go in with the file, come out of there with a book and about 1,000 business cards to match. Like when I say they took the idea of a printing press and made it into a global phenomenon, where now you have, well, for a while you had Kinko's that was kind of, if I'm not mistaken, they did it first. And then at Office Max and all these office stores started having like a little side version. But Kinko's, man, you could send Kinko's an email, and by the time you got to the place, they already had it bounded and printed off and anything. Kinko's was amazing.
Right.
Kinko's was amazing. But back to the question I was trying to ask. As you can tell, we kind of got ADHD.
That's my bad.
We got squirrel brain around here sometimes.
Listen, I'm very much so. Oh, a piece of candy. Like it's gonna happen. Was there a moment that made you say, "Listen, this story needs to be told"?
As I got into more of the writing and the research myself, I started seeing a lot with, and I have to say with Bearcat and Bobo in particular, and actually Ernie Ladd.
Mm-hmm. That's Mark Henry's boy. That Mark Henry always talking about Ernie.
Yeah, I mean, when I started learning more about them, that's when it kind of hit me like, yeah, this is a part of Black history that a lot of people don't talk about, because wrestling in general has this negative stigma of being, low highbrow entertainment, and everybody watches it, but they won't admit it publicly. So it had that stigma, but when I saw it, like this really is Black history that kind of needs to be told. It's part of the sports history that hadn't been. Everybody knows the Jackie Robinson, the Jack Johnsons in boxing, but you don't know Bearcat right in professional wrestling. And Bearcat was the one of the main people who stood up once he had won the WWA version of the world title and basically said, that's it. I'm not wrestling any more segregated matches. Down south,
wow.
I can only wrestle other black wrestlers, and I'm tired of that.
Oh, wow. Welcome in, Raiders. Thank you, Mel, for raiding. I appreciate y'all. We are in the middle of our Square Conversations episode 10 for this season. Have to say a very quick and special happy birthday to cousin Mel.
Happy birthday, Mel.
Who's on Mel? You missed it, Mel. I started the stream with a song from your album. But yeah, we have Dr. David L. Shabazz, who is the author of
Pro Wrestling's Black World Champions.
I was gonna mess that up because my brain wants to say Black Champions
Black
in
Gold.
Wrestling for some reason, and then Black Gold just stays there. But
do we have a link for the book?
I forgot to thank you, Yates, because I meant to
Post it and pin it.
Yeah, post it and pin it.
Because from the video that you did as the opening video, the hardback cover of it looks like it would be an amazing coffee table book.
I'm pretty sure it is.
And
from what I've read,
I'm definitely gonna be convincing Tony that we need to buy it.
Peek behind the tape, peek behind the curtain. He sent me a press copy of the book. What I read, it is a great. Like, if you're a wrestling fan, you need this. You need this as a coffee read. You will not be disappointed. Oh wait, that's way too long. Hold on.
No.
The simplified.
The simplified. There we go. Hold on. And the funny thing is, when I was putting that video together, Sims told me to do this, and I still forgot to do it. All right.
We always listen to Sims.
Listen, if you don't have a Sims, get you one. Especially if you're a streamer, because Jesus Christ. That note template that I sent everybody, that I sent you, David, that was all Sims. That's that was all my mod. She came up with that template, and that's how we've been rocking this entire time.
Okay.
How did your background affect how you decided to attack this? Or this series in general?
I would say it's definitely in harmony with who I am as a person, even as a scholar researcher. Black communication is really one of those areas that I publish on, and in my day job as as a professor and a scholar, that's really the kind of subjects that I tackle. So this was just right in line with that. And as you know, as some of the readers can even tell, that's why I even had like the my rhetorical analysis in there of you know, the WrestleMania with Booker T versus Triple H in there, because that's the kind of stuff that
I appreciated that because you were saying some of the things that I was that in watching it I was thinking, and like y'all need to read this book. And then after you, while you're reading the book, take a break from the book and then go watch the highlights of that Booker T and Triple H. And
yes,
to be honest,
I don't think I've ever actually seen that match.
it's more than just a match. It was a whole build. It was them.
Yeah.
It was them. And I don't even know how they got all of this past Vince, basically because of how we all know Vince is. But they were bringing to light and a real issue that happens in professional wrestling. Imagine. You remember? Do you remember when Kofi Mania was happening, and they were saying, Kofi was saying that we all know why you won't give me a shot at the title. We all know why, and it was kind of implied. This is where they got that from. They got that from the Triple H and Booker T when Triple H told Booker T that people like you don't deserve. Now you see how you feel right now? You see how you see that response that you just had? I want you to know.
So when we taking a ride to Connecticut?
I want you to know that this was a brainchild of Triple H and Booker T. Booker T had to sign off on those words. They were bringing, like I said, they were bringing awareness to an issue that literally still plagues the WWE a little bit today. Like
it does.
Like, and we talk about it. You know it's a thing.
Yeah.
That was just the first time that it was publicly like quote unquote poked fun at or actually brought forth on a global scale. You know what I mean? And for them to sit there and it wasn't just a one-off line.
No.
The whole feud was that.
Uh-huh.
That's why
Crazy.
Today I was like, I mean, you know, when you go back and watch it, you're gonna ask yourself, he's being such a micromanager. How did they get this past here? like because
Did they distract him while they planned all of that out and just slipped the scripts in without him realizing?
I'm not sure, but back then, I mean, it could have been because back then, Triple H. If it wasn't Triple H and Booker T, they wouldn't have gotten away with it. If it was anybody else, they'd have shut that down quick.
Yeah. I mean, it's a promo that, you know, really have to watch. I mean, because Triple H he doubled down on the criticism as well. Like, I know, you know, Booker T does, you know, his spinneroonie in the ring, which is, you know, gets everybody. But Triple H was like, "You here to entertain? Dance for me, Book."
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on. I mean, he got really low down with it.
Mm-hmm. But it almost needed to happen because people wouldn't have paid attention to it if they just grazed it. No, you needed to prick the viewers. You needed to show.
And they needed to get a reaction.
Right.
From
You needed to make people angry. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, we are a people that don't move unless we angry. like it is what it, like, you know, it is what it is. As long we don't, if because we very much so are. Oh, what does that got to do with me? A lot.
Yeah. Everything.
A lot. I just and hats off to Booker T and them for that entire thing. Hats off to Kofi and the New Day for what they did. Because the difference between the two was Kofi Mania happened in the information age. Meaning they were talking to a fan base that had a voice where they could voice their dissatisfaction and but again, unless people are angry, they not gonna say nothing. And you know, that's just nowadays. I really believe that we're in a situation where even if they're angry and they're
not gonna listen,
and they voice their opinion or they voice their frustration, because of how fickle we've become, it's gonna be one of those things where, oh well, the fans don't know what they want, so we just gonna do whatever we want to do anyway.
Yeah.
Because like it's, well, we're not here to talk. We're here to talk about the book, and because I can go on, and this could turn into something completely different.
That is certainly relevant, though. I mean, I have to say, because Kofi is one of the champions who's in there, and unlike Kofi's, and I'll say this, and I'll leave the Triple H Booker T alone. But unlike Kofi Mania, you know, when you put a person through all of that struggle,
yes,
and that challenge, is for them to win the belt,
right?
If Triple H is going to be the main heel and really get into Booker T, and you don't deserve this, and your spinneroonie and your nappy hair and all, if you're going to really insult him like that, what you needed to do was let Booker T win the belt.
Oh, that would have had an insane pop if that would have happened.
True, but I think it was more about the statement. They wanted to make people angry. And I think that the issue was like we're saying now, people don't move unless they angry. And if they would have put the belt on Booker T at that point, it would have just went. We wouldn't be talking about it right now. It would be. Yeah. It would be. Oh, but it
won. It worked out in the end.
Yeah, you know.
Right.
We had the fairy tale ending. You know what I mean? And no harm, no foul, because he got the belt.
No, still harm, still foul.
You know, that's what I'm saying. Like it wouldn't
Very foul.
No, I agree. I'm saying had they put the belt on Booker T,
That's how they would have played it off.
yeah. It needed to happen that way so that we can have these conversations. So that we can say there's a problem here and it needs to be addressed. You know,
There's still a problem there.
True. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. It's wild that we seem to be going backwards. Like not just in wrestling, but in the world in general. Which brings me to why do you think stories of Black world champions have been so underrepresented in mainstream wrestling?
I don't really know. I think that people just didn't really care. Didn't think that the stories mattered that much. Because a lot of the information has been out there. A lot of historians had the information just kind of hidden away. It's been, a struggle trying to find some of this information. And there are, some historians out there who actually have it, but just sat on it. Like It's not important. Nobody really cares. And so I kind of think that's what it was until, toot my brother's horn, until he put out the book in 1999, and then people started paying attention to the Black wrestlers, and one thing that was so ironic about the time when he had put the book out, he was booked for a interview on BET Tonight with Tavis Smiley. And Booker T was on the show. Ernest Cat Miller and Charmel, who's now Booker T's wife.
Right.
They all were on the show at the time. And my brother said, it would be a travesty if Booker T doesn't win the belt. And like the next episode of Nitro or whatever, Booker T won the belt. Maybe it was that Bash at the Beach or what, but yeah, like shortly after that, a week or so after he won the belt.
Yeah, but again, and I keep saying
how that influence. I mean, because people were not recognizing all of the hard work that he had done, and even Vince Russo in his shoot interview at the Bash at the Beach basically said that, people like Booker T have been working their butts off for years and not getting the respect that they deserve. And I think it's just the stigma that there was this perception that the Black wrestlers are not a big draw. Like there's not enough of people in the audience. Number one, that's a misnomer because there are lots of Black fans of professional wrestling and have been for years. And number two, that's assuming that only Black audiences like Black wrestlers. If you're good, everybody likes you. You can look at all sports. I mean, if the person is good at what they do, fans of all races are going to like you. So don't use that as your excuse for not putting the belt on the Black person. And that's what they've been doing.
I mean, look at it this way. And I hate that his career got cut so short because he was so good. Jason Jordan.
Yeah.
Had he not gotten hurt, that rocket was coming. that rocket was coming. Him.
Oh yeah, I could have seen him as with a world title.
He had the potential Well, I don't know. Because now I think about like the way they treat Chad Gable. And he and Chad Gable both had that technical style to the point where, if you remember when Chad Gable and Jason Jordan first started, they had to slow down in the ring so that they wouldn't outshine anybody that they were wrestling. They were making people look like fools.
Yeah.
Like in this ring. And I get it. I understand. I wish we would have got a proper thing. Like I wish that he wouldn't have gotten hurt, because he had, and he would have been a big draw. You know what I mean? He would have been that he would have been a prime example of what you just said. It wasn't about what color, skin, what nationality, whatever the case may be. He was good. Like, not just good, he was great.
Right.
Him and Chad Gable ran NXT when they were down there.
Yeah, they sure did.
Like, if they were in a match at a pay-per-view, wasn't really no, like, you knew who was gonna win. You just watched the match because you wanted to see how it was how it was gonna happen. Because they were amazing. I don't think up until that point it had been a long time since I was that excited about tag team wrestling. Them boys, I always say there are two types of wrestlers. There are people that can actually wrestle, and then there are your showmans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your John Cena's, your Roman Reigns, those people are showmen. They don't wrestle for real.
Right.
Your Kurt Angles, your Ludwig Kaisers, your Xavier Woods, to some extent, well, Jimmy more than Jay. You know, Jay more than Jimmy. Like, those people can wrestle. Like, those people have a firm understanding of in-ring technique and not just what looks good. I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but Dominic Mysterio.
How did that taste coming, like, saying that?
I hated it. But even Dom, like, if he wasn't trying to play this character, I believe he could really go. Like, he could really, like, he's more than just a showman. He's allowed to be that. And you can see it, not so much in his offense, but in his defense. And how he sells things to make other wrestlers look good.
I feel like if they gave him a face run, they'd let him finally show it.
It's too late for that. Like, that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
Wrestling's in his blood too, though. You know.
Oh yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. He's a Guerrero. You
beat me to that one.
He may have the name Mysterio as his last name, but he's a Guerrero. Look at him and see that. I mean, come on now.
You can't. Well, right. Even when he was younger, he kind of favored Eddie more than Ray. And anytime you saw him, he was always under Eddie. He was not really, like, I'm pretty sure behind the scenes him and Ray have a great relationship, and they, but when he was younger, when you saw him, it was him and Eddie all the time. like even in like, but it was because him and Eddie and Ray were so close. But even in like just like cameo shots, Dom and Eddie, like you know, and it I think it wasn't so much the on camera stuff. I think those rumors got started because of
behind the scenes stuff.
even behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It was always Dom and Eddie, and so I will always forever poke fun at the fact that it's like y'all let a wrestling match determine the paternity of this kid. That's
Right.
that's
I'm surprised that they haven't pulled the like him changing his name just for the like I'm not your kid.
I think that they would have had other wrestlers not had a problem with it. Because when they were first kind of starting to lean that way, you had Conan come up and he was talking about how Ray was milking Eddie's name for a cheap pop. Chavo was saying it like it. Uh-oh, did we lose him? Okay, there we go. Yeah, your video cut out for a second. And so I think that in the world of luchador Mexican style wrestling, it would have caused more of an issue culturally, and I don't think that they wanted to upset that. Now,
I see that.
Now if Dom comes out and does it, it'd be because it's Dom, and that's one of the, you know what I mean. That's one of the people that
He's gonna do it for the cheap booze.
It would literally be on brand. You know, so but I originally I thought that they were piping in the booze.
Those were organic.
Those were organic, deafening booze. In your research for this book, which champion story moved you the most?
Wow. That's a tough one. That is a really tough one. I would have to say that somebody that really surprised me was, or something surprising to know was with Ernie Ladd. When I learned that he was essentially the first Black person to be a booker. And I did not know he was a booker in Mid-South.
I didn't either.
But yeah, I mean, that's one thing that's not really talked about, because the booker, that person has the power. So we're talking real power that, you know, that Ernie Ladd had back in the day. And that was, I guess, that trust that Bill Watts had for him. And he definitely showed it with those, you know, those matches with JYD and Butch Reed and others in the territory, that Ladd knew the people, and he knew what to promote, and that Bill Watts actually gave him that chance to do that. That was probably the most impressive thing that I learned.
I didn't know. That's crazy, because that's almost like you look at him different when you think, because when you know the history and how the matches went, like it really make you look at him and be like, oh, okay. You know, That's amazing. That's crazy.
Mhm.
When talking about the words world champion, what does that mean to you? How would you define it? What is the definition for you?
That world champion has to be somebody who travels and who defends that title, across the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the thing that separates Ron Simmons, because he held a belt that was, a world title. He was actually defending the belt across the globe.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Bearcat Wright won a belt that was called a world title. They did have a couple of matches in Canada, because Canada's close.
Mm-hmm.
Some out in Hawaii, out in the Polynesian territory that the Mayavias controlled. But it wasn't truly a world belt where they're actually traveling. I mean, you've got to defend it on Europe, and you've got to go in Asia. You got to, and now you basically have to perform in Saudi Arabia these days.
Right.
The Saudis have their own.
You got to go to Glasgow. Now you got to go to Lyon, France, and all these. I miss the days of how, and I may be aging myself here, but I miss the days where a world champion had to go to other promotions and defend that belt against the top dog in that promotion.
That was loud.
Yeah. So
the territory days.
Yeah. So
before Vince.
So Ric Flair, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ric Flair was called a world champion because that's what he had to do. And the reason why and I just recently found this out. Part of the reason why he left the organization he was with is because it was a contract dispute. They didn't pay him. And they basically was trying to do to him what they ultimately ended up doing to Bret Hart. Was like, yeah, but like it would have been 10 times worse because you're talking about your world champion, somebody that their name was synonymous with wrestling. Like, you know what I mean?
Wild.
Like, it wasn't just this is WWE and this is AEW, this is NWA. No, you're talking about one person, one belt. Send me your best champion. Send me your best, and I'll put him in the ground. That's like, and that's what they were trying to screw over. And I've heard a bunch of Rick's news. I've never heard him talk like that.
With that situation, if that with them doing that to Rick, that would then spiral into, if they do it to him, they do it to anybody.
Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe.
Right.
Nobody's safe. Let me tell you, that's crazy. But, yeah, Ron Simmons was a territory guy.
Yeah.
So That's why it was so big when he won the world title. Because you knew the same, send me your best.
Yeah.
There's a lot of companies now that call their belt the world title, but these aren't world titles. These are glorified WWE title, because they tired of calling it the WWE title, or they tired of calling it the undisputed title, or whatever the case may be. They just wanted another belt.
Right.
And don't even get me started with AEW, because AEW, it seemed like everybody that come out of Gorilla got a title around their waist.
Wow.
Let's say, don't they have like every title from, like, they have different titles from a whole bunch of different independent promotions.
Ring of Honor,
like
the
I
Ring
heard
of Honor title is still
there
around.
are some independent promotions that are literally creating titles so that Mercedes Moné can go be their champion.
Wow.
So that they can add to her belt collector gimmick.
Right.
Which, like, good for her, but at the same time,
but even
there is such thing as too many like there is a limit.
Even just within AEW though, you got the Ring of Honor title, you got the tag team titles, you got the trios titles, you got the TBS title, which does not make sense, because I don't even think they're on TBS anymore.
Wow.
I think it's called the North American title or something like that. You've got, and I can't remember the others. Like it's
the one thing I haven't heard was women's tag titles.
No, if
they don't have women's tag. They don't have women's tag. They don't have women's tag titles.
Yeah, and they're it's almost crazy that they would even have they have so many titles, and their roster is so huge that this last pay-per-view, although it was a pretty good pay-per-view, this last pay-per-view, I think there was only like one or two one-on-one matches. Everything else was like 3-way, 4-way. Like, yeah.
So AEW itself has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 titles. Like just the AEW title, like not including Ring of Honor, which they have their world champion, their continental champion, their intercontinental champion, the unified champion, which is the continental and intercontinental. So instead of there being the continental and intercontinental, it's now the unified. So there's actually 1, 2, 3 men's championships in a like singles titles in AEW now. And then they have the tag titles, the trio titles, and then the AEW Women's World Championship and the TBS Championship. Like, I feel like they could use another women's title, personally, but also women's wrestling.
They need to trim. I don't know. It's
the three titles, then turning into the 2 of the titles turning into 1, but they still have them listed as 3 separate titles is a little crazy to me. I'm sure he's probably carrying around 3 different belts.
Probably.
Is there a pattern that you notice in how black champions were presented, erased, or presented or erased across different eras? Like, is there a pattern that you kind of recognize? Is there like oh, here we go again? Something that kind of rings that bell for you.
Kind of the way that they tend to lose the title. Like Kofi. Kofi was totally humiliated.
Yeah,
with
that. Yeah, that was so disrespectful.
Big E wasn't much better. I mean,
no,
the way he lost it, and it just seems like, and well, I guess even in AEW now as well with Swerve Strickland, it seems like once a black person becomes the heavyweight champion, it's almost as if they drop down to mid-card status. I don't really see them still like as a serious contender for the belt again. I may be wrong there, but I think they kind of tease it. I don't think Swerve's going to get it again. He may, but that's probably the pattern that I'm seeing. I'm not seeing many of the black champions repeat over and over again, whereas you could see somebody like a Brock could come back and win the belt again.
You don't want that, though. I would much rather Kofi get another world title run.
It's gonna happen though, like simply because it's Brock. It is the inevitability.
I won't say the things that I won't say because I'm behaving.
And I was trying not to say that name. I mean,
but yeah, he most likely will win another title before he inevitably retires.
The fact that he went over Cena in a squash match during Cena's
farewell
tour is evidence of Brock is going to be a champion again. Like it's going to happen.
Yeah. Now, one thing
I didn't watch WrestlePalooza because I was not going to get ESPN. I literally only watched the mixed tag match because somebody posted the full match on TikTok.
Oh, I didn't get it either. I sailed the 7 seas to watch that.
I saw highlights of it. Somebody had highlights.
Next time we got a VPN, so next time I'm gonna try to see if I can watch it on Netflix. If the VPN works. I mean, Stephanie's promoting VPNs on her show, so
that was the most.
She's encouraging. She's encouraging it.
That was the craziest thing. Outside of during the ESPN broadcast, they did a screen when during the Stephanie Cool match where it literally still said Netflix.
That's wild.
What was
the wild thing to me is ESPN gave it a C. Like they rushed putting it on ESPN instead of letting it be like the last Peacock pay-per-view, and they gave it a C. That's their own. They rushed the product because they weren't supposed to get the deal wasn't supposed to start until 2026.
Right.
It's interesting.
But they were probably trying to make up. No. I don't know. They needed that money though, because they took a hit when they suspended their boy. And I'm pretty sure that $3.8 billion in 3 days hurt a little bit. But what was the most difficult part in writing this book?
There wasn't. It wasn't anything that was difficult per se, outside of the normal. Just doing research, just fact checking, trying to double check and trying to make sure, and just cross referencing. I would say that was probably the most difficult part, certainly the most time consuming, because when you put something out there, you definitely want it to be accurate. So that's that's painstaking to trying to check the accuracy of things. Especially in a business like wrestling, where kayfabe is not as prevalent as it used to be. But
what is kayfabe at this point?
Like, does that even exist anymore?
That curtain,
right?
They took that curtain down and packed it up and put it in the attic.
Some of the listeners may not know. They're a little younger. They may not know. Back in the day, people had their persona, that character, and they protected that character. They did not let you know their real name and where they were from. And you thought Nikita Koloff was a Russian, and Nikita played that role.
Mm-hmm.
He actually learned Russian, and he did actually change his name to Nikita Koloff.
Because Dusty apparently, like, when he was out injured, he would be around the house injured. They've done interview. Cody and Dustin have done interviews saying he would literally be around the house acting as if he was still injured.
Cody learned. I mean,
wild.
Think about his household though. They came from a household where you lived your gimmick. You know what I mean? You protected the business.
Right.
Because you are the product. I talk about this all the time because it's you hear about the Mandela effect, and this is one of the things that kind of we all remember that it happened, but you can't find any evidence that it did. When Undertaker died on camera the first time, it was on the news. I remember watching the news, and they were saying they were reporting how a wrestler died during the show.
That is wild.
It was in the newspaper. It was you could not tell anybody at that time that Undertaker was still alive. You know what I mean? And this was in a
really a dead man.
Right. This was also during a time where, because you would think, well, maybe they gave some money and this, that, and the other, or did, had certain licensing or certain agreements. But you gotta remember, this was a time where WWF at that point, they didn't believe in permits. They didn't believe in shelling out unnecessary money. So
what's a permit?
I'm trying to tell you, if anybody ever watched Undertaker's Hall of Fame speech, that is what Stockholm syndrome looks like. He is talking about how this man basically tortured him and is thanking him in the same breath. Bro, I was sitting there like, y'all laughing, but Vince should be in jail. Like, you can't just do that to people.
Jail, under the jail.
Like, bro, y'all sitting here laughing and stuff, but like, there's no way that this can't do that to people at all.
Well, if your last name is McMahon, you can.
You know,
He proved it.
he definitely did.
Yeah.
He did. Unfortunately. But in that vein of research, did you ever uncover any myths or misconceptions about black wrestlers that you were compelled to correct?
Nothing comes to mind immediately. No, I don't think there were any misconceptions out there that I found.
And we kind of alluded to this one earlier, but just to get your thoughts on it, do you see any progress in how black wrestlers are represented today?
Yes, I think the representation is much better now than it has been. It got a little raunchy during the Attitude Era in WWE, but with the exception of that period, I think the overall images are a lot better. Now there's still, I still don't like the name Street Profits. It still kind of carries a negative stigma. And some people don't like, I won't say the name, but don't really care for the New Day. Thinks that the New Day is a little too cartoonish. And there's some truth to that. But I do think it's getting a lot better. It's not at a point where everybody is shucking and jiving like they used to have to do back in the day. Everybody had to play this black stereotype. I think that for the most part has diminished from the business, which is good. So I do like that progress.
Yeah, I agree. I'm almost afraid to say it, but my grandmother would call them the dancing monkeys.
That's
but it was because anytime you would see a black person in the ring, they was dancing. Like it like even Junkyard Dog, like you got this man who is supposed to be super intimidating with the chains and everything. And the first thing he does when he gets in the ring is he start doing a little jig. And it's like,
another one bites the dust.
Right. Right. Imagine just to give you a comparison. Imagine Brock Lesnar in his Beast era. And he's supposed to be just this, I don't talk, I don't say anything. I come in, I kick ass, and I go home. and then he get in the ring and then start two-stepping. Like
I wouldn't take him serious.
right.
Right.
But that's what was happening. That's what was happening. And that was a dark time.
Right. How are you going to come out dancing when you're supposed to be meaner than a junkyard dog?
Right.
You're supposed to be mean.
Right. Yeah. And it made my skin crawl when I watched Impact one time, probably about a year or so ago, and I saw Moose on the screen, and as dominant over there as Moose has been, he went through a period in his character called the Dancing Moose, and he would just, it was like, yeah, he would go into like this trance and just start dancing, and it just out of nowhere.
No.
Yeah, they did that to him. They definitely did that to him.
That's crazy.
They definitely did that to him. It made my skin crawl. I was like, there is no way that this man who's basically put TNA on his back, there's no way he should be out there doing that. That is so far removed from his character that this shouldn't be a thing.
I agree.
What does Black excellence look like beyond just in wrestling, beyond just visibility?
Well, I think that's a part of it. I think when they look at making the champion itself, I think that's all about the overall excellence of the person. The way they carry themselves, as well as their ability to perform. I think if you're going to be excellent, you have to carry yourself in a certain manner that presents and projects excellence when you walk into a room. That should be your aura. And I do get the characters and people, sometimes getting into that character like Butch Reed would do, which is one thing that stopped Butch Reed from getting the title, because Butch was a heel and he was going to be a heel all day long. I'm not signing autographs. I'm not smiling at people. That was him.
Them people.
Right. I mean, when the camera's off and everything, Butch still would not do it.
Butch Reed is a character that should have been around in today's age, where you could get away with that. Like your MJFs. You know how MJF was so much of a heel where it was like, we used to say that, like, he took heel being way, like, he was too much of a heel, because you can't come out behind the curtain before the show even start. People just not getting their seats and be cursing out everybody in the crowd. Like, you can't do that.
But also, why not?
I mean, but it works. It works for him.
Why can't he?
I mean, buddy, imagine coming down, sitting in your seat, and Maxwell Jacob Freeman grabs your drink that you just bought out of your hand and dumps it on you. You had no idea this was fixing to happen. That's the type of stuff he was doing. Like,
I would cry.
Because them drinks ain't cheap. He probably paid $20 for that cup of Coke. I believe that it would have worked now. It did not work. It was great to see, it was a spectacle because we all love a good heel, but it for that time period, it didn't work out for him. If you could sit down with, say, a Bianca Belair, or what I am slowly gathering might be your favorite wrestler right now, it's Swerve Strickland. If you could sit down with someone like that, what would you ask?
Oh, wow. I would probably, I'd want to know more about them, more about their personality, growing up, their environment, and basically what shaped that person. Bianca definitely is interesting. I mean, she seems like, very athletic person and very driven. And I read somewhere that she had even participated in like the CrossFit,
CrossFit,
and like got injured from doing that because of overtraining, basically pushing herself too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the kinds of things that I would ask. I like to get inside of the person's mind. I want to know, what drives you, what motivates you, and those are the kinds of things that I would like to know.
She did a powerlifting like a professional powerlifting competition. At the same time, she was on TV every week.
Oh,
That's crazy.
And the crazy thing is, when Charlotte Flair tried to do a powerlifting competition, she had to take off from WWE to do it. You have other people like your Bianca Belairs who just taking it stride. It's like, well, I power lift every day anyway, so I'm basically training anyway. So
She was lift notice.
Right. Right.
That was amazing. Watching her lift Otis and walk him around the ring, bro, that was crazy. That was nuts.
Yeah. It gives you a sense of just how strong she is.
Mm-hmm.
And again, so those are the things that's why I would really, would like to talk to somebody like her, because then it's like even she recognized it, came back. Very beautiful woman. I mean, and she even recognized that, like, I guess, like, she's showing all of her strength. And I know that she recently went to like a fashion thing and participated in like a beauty contest and all. Like, oh, okay, she's still showing everybody, yeah, I'm strong and I'm tough, but I'm, I'm still a female too. And I like that. I like to get inside the person's mind and see that kind of thinking that goes on.
Okay.
I would absolutely want to talk to her about her gear. Like the fact that she makes all of her own gear. And like she designed, like, if I'm not mistaken, she designs most of her gear herself. Like she's done a few fan designs. And then like she's also made all, like, she literally makes all of her gear. She's made a handful of Montez's gear as well.
Yeah.
And that's incredible that she does that, as well as trains for in rings and all that stuff.
Thank you, Josh, for the raid. I appreciate it, buddy. Guys, that's coming in from Josh's screen. We are in episode 10 of season 3 of Square Conversations with the host and also Dr. David L. Shabazz. y'all. He recently, as early as July, released the third edition of, and I'm going to get it right this time, Pro Wrestling's Black World Champions.
Yes.
And we have just had a great time just talking to him about the book. Also, I'm loving I'm loving the rebrand. I'm loving the way that you seem to have come back with the streets on a more almost consistent basis. Love that for you, Josh. What do you hope students take away? Not just like your wrestling fans, but anybody that picks this book up. What do you hope that they take away from it?
I hope it's inspiring. I want them to read these profiles and brief bios of each of these professional wrestlers and to become inspired by that, because their journey explains how they got to be the best of the best. I mean, these are the ones who were champion. And so, it takes a lot to become the world champion in professional wrestling. It's not easy for anybody, regardless of your race. So definitely for the Black wrestlers, I mean, it's like you always have to, prove yourself worthy of being able to be the champion. And so that's what I hope everybody will read the stories and become inspired by them.
And if wrestling is a mirror of today's society, what truth does that reveal about the treatment of Black champions? Or a better way to phrase it is, if wrestling is a mirror of society, what does the treatment of Black champions say about the broader cultural narrative?
Well, it's definitely a reflection of it. There's certain obstacles that you're going to have to face, but you can overcome those obstacles. And that is the beauty of it. Sort of like what you were saying earlier, people have to be angry, you have to move. I heard it said before that, and not necessarily any reference to what's going on now, not necessarily, but the best thing for Black people is to have a Republican president. And that was even before the current Republican president, because we would tend to get complacent. And that Republican president, when things get conservative and start pulling back, it starts making people work. And that's what's necessary. And yeah, they're always, it's not that sometimes, the American dream is really a myth. That's not true. Because there are people who work hard and still don't achieve the American dream. You can't just say that's all you have to do and you can live it. No, there's certain social and certain political factors that get in the way that either allow a person to become successful or prevent a person from becoming successful. And that's just the way it is. And I think that is reflected. It's not right. It's not fair. But if a person works hard, they can still carve out a good, successful life for themselves. And hopefully they can, if the politics is on their side, they can ascend to being the champion. And that's what pro wrestling is about, because it's not really about pinning the person. It's not like MMA where you knock the person out or you count them out or you make them tap out or whatever, and you win it in a legitimate contest in the ring. The bookers decide. And so what other factors go into deciding who gets to be a champion? And that's life, because there are people out here who can sing better than some of the recording artists out there now. There are people out there who are stronger than some of the ones who are playing, basketball and football and can play much better than them, and they're walking on the street corners and that didn't get that opportunity. So, that's why I say that American dream, that's a myth. I mean, you have to have certain politics and certain social and other factors in your corner.
I can see that.
And wrestling mirrors that.
I can see that. And as much as I dislike as much as I dislike the views that a lot of Republicans have, again, Republicans make black people angry. And black people don't move once they angry.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get it. It's a necessary, kind of unnecessary evil, I guess you would say. So I definitely understand. Because I was asked. I wasn't asked. I was a part of a conversation that someone else was asked. In the light of like what's happening now, to rather have people that are racist and just not know because society is at a point where racism and bigotry is not allowed. So these people are being quiet. So would you rather it like it is today? Our celebrity in chief, he makes it okay to speak up. So now you're starting to see how they're loud, proud about their bigotry and their. Would you rather these people be quiet and just not know? Or would you rather know who it is so you can separate yourself from it? Like neither one of them is a good situation. Like they're gonna be here regardless. So would you rather know about it? Would you rather, or is ignorance bliss?
I think it's best when you kind of know what you're dealing with, and I think it kind of, you move differently when if you know a person hates your guts or whatever, you can move differently, or you may even just totally avoid them. I really don't. I don't want to say I don't care about that, but I think one of the biggest, you could hate my guts, but don't discriminate against me. Don't stop me from making a living, and don't stop me from doing what I want to do. If you don't want me living next to you, I mean, I want to live next to you either. That's fine.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But I'm not preventing you from making a living and feeding your family. And that's the problem. When you can have your little racist views, but if you start discriminating against a person and making it difficult for them to exist and to live, those are the problems that I have. And so, yeah, I think if you kind of know it makes it a little better. But it just kind of depends on what they do. And I guess that comes down to being in power. When a person has power and influence to hold you down, that's when things become a problem.
Mm. So what's next for David? What you got any future projects on the table?
Yes.
I understand. I understand that is a very loaded question, and you may not be willing or able to talk about some of it right now. So I do understand that side of it, but I don't think that I would be doing you justice if I didn't at least ask, what else should we be looking out for?
Yes, there is. I'm working on another project that certainly is wrestling related. I'm working with a couple of wrestlers on a project. I don't know if that's going to be. I can't say right now whether that's going to be a fourth edition of this particular book, because I don't have any immediate plans of doing something like that. Not saying that it won't happen, because when I put out the second edition in 2002, I didn't really see myself doing a third, and it just being on the kind of being on the circuit, on the media circuit, doing podcasts and TV shows and other things. It just kind of, interacting with fans and supporters who really wanted this material. It kind of pushed me to doing a third edition. So I don't really know, but yeah, I do have something coming out, but I can't say what that is.
Understandable.
I get you. So that just means that we need to tune in to, is it davidlshabazz.com or is it David?
Yes, okay. That's correct. davidlshabazz.com. I try to keep updates on there as much as I can, much as I'm able to say.
Right.
And I will say this one though. I have not. That was a longer term major project that I can't really speak about. I am looking at. I haven't decided right now. My brother passed in 2020, and he had put out the third edition of Black Stars of Professional Wrestling, which was like the my years are bad. 99, I guess that was 2019, the 20th year, I think it was, of that particular. My math's not mathing. I'm a little tired.
No, I get you.
Math is hard sometimes. All the time.
Right.
My niece called me today. Uncle, I got an F in my college algebra class, and I don't know what to do. She almost in tears. So I was like, breathe, we're gonna figure it out. Cause it ain't like when it was in high school, baby. They got their money already. You done paid them. They gonna tell you what they need from you, and then it's up to you to figure out how you learn the information. And
that's
so
true.
We just need to figure out, one, we know what the subject matter is. Now, how do we present it to you in a way that you understand it? So that you can give them what they're looking for.
Right.
And boy, she called me and she was, I don't know what to do. I can't call Mimo because Mimo at work. I can't.
I'm the writer. I use that side of the brain, not the mathematical side.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
But no, I'm actually my brother really didn't get a chance to kind of promote that third edition of his book. So I'm actually updating that book. I don't know whether I'm going to call it a fourth edition, and that may be out by the end of this year. And that kind of grew from, a lot of these conversations where people are talking about other Black wrestlers who are not the world champion.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's interest in those others because his book looked at just Black wrestlers, period.
Mm-hmm.
And, whereas this one is just focused on the champions. I think there's some room to kind of go back and update that particular book, especially because we've got a lot more since 2019 now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't think he kind of got his justice with that one. So I don't know whether I'm going to call it a fourth edition or an expanded version of the third. That's kind of, I'm leaning towards that, but that's the most immediate project I've got coming up.
Oh, I'd definitely be interested in taking a look at. I am going to buy the third edition. I want the hard copy because I have a bookshelf behind me and it needs to be filled with books, not trinkets.
So yeah, see, there's the paperback copy for on Amazon. Is there a way to get the hardback? Is there hardback copies?
No, it's just a paperback.
Oh, okay. But yeah,
And
I definitely want to like the press copy was nice. It did its job, but I want something that I can feel. So I definitely want to pick this up. It's definitely going to be like I really enjoyed, like I said, my time with it, and I'm. It's kind of like it kind of makes you feel like an album. What I mean by that is when I take in a new album, I have to listen to the album 3 or 4 times. Because you the first time you listen to it, it's gonna go either one or two ways. Either you're gonna lock me into every song on the album, or it's just gonna blow your mind and you're gonna be like, this is the best thing I ever. Then after you listen to it a couple of more times, like you said earlier, the critique side of that brain started going, and you actually are able to sit with the information and really put it together the way the artist intended it to be put together. And so I am going to read it again a couple more times because what I do is, like I said, you sent me down a rabbit hole. Some of these people I didn't know about until I read your book. So I want to be able to sit down and make sure I didn't miss any names and go through and really dive into the information and also pull up online references to the information to really study the information that's given.
right.
So this the way that you kind of wrote this book, I would imagine it's kind of like a lecture almost. You give actual profiles for the folks that you're talking about, and I could see it kind of being if broken up. You could see it kind of being a part lecture almost. And so I appreciate that, and I'm definitely gonna take my time with it. I had to kind of speed through it this time because I was getting to the show.
Right.
But I want to be able to act really sit down with it and really take in the information. And if you're interested in wrestling, you're interested in the history of wrestling, I would definitely suggest picking up this book because it'll give you wrestling history facts, not opinions, facts that most books won't give you. And so hats off to you for that. Hats off to
Thanks.
you for that. Hats off to your brother for that. Julian was definitely on to something when he came up with this.
Yeah. And I do appreciate that too. And a key point that you're saying there, it's factual and it's not a person's biography.
Mm-hmm.
Where a person puts out all of the good stuff about themselves
Right.
and their side of a story.
We're not lying at the funeral in here.
Right. I mean, it's mentioning everything. I mean, like, want to give away too much, but when Naomi and Sasha Banks won the titles, the championship, the tag team titles,
mm-hmm.
Sasha Banks at that time actually said, I owe it all to my good friend Vince McMahon. Next thing you know, there's a fallout.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm not shying away from that kind of stuff, because at one time, okay, you said this was my best friend. Now all of a sudden, I hate them and they did
right. Right.
So yeah, I mean, we look at those kinds of things because those kinds of things are real and it's all referenced. It's not being made up. You can, anybody can find this material.
Yeah.
I got my references. Everything is cited in the back of the book. So
mm-hmm.
It's there. It's not partial towards any one, one party or the other.
With this being
those tweets were doctored.
With this being the third edition to the book, and this is my last and final question. At least for this go around, because like I mentioned before, I am planning something for the month of February, and we want David back because of his expertise in this field. But I forgot what I was supposed to say.
Well, there are 28 days in February, so you got me on record as saying, and I will be on. No, one of those days I'll be free to.
No, we will definitely we will definitely take it out and make it happen because I want to, like I said, I want to make it an entire week of celebrating Black wrestling culture, the good, the bad, the ugly. I want to, and at that time I'll be done my research with the book, and so we can get into quotes that I have some quotes right now that I liked from it saved, but I want to really be able to delve into that. And so I can't wait for that. Now, with this being the third iteration or third edition of this book, do you recommend from a pure historian standpoint, should we have all three editions in our repertoire, or are we good with the third edition?
Well, the first edition right now is unavailable. Okay. It's hard. It's very hard to find, and I don't think it would be I don't want to say authentic, but I would probably have to reprint that one. I don't think
Okay.
I don't have it in that form. I know it was originally a PDF, and I don't know if was able to find the actual PDFs, that files that the printed publication was made from.
Mm-hmm.
The second edition has the second edition basically has everything from the first edition. And it has a little talk. Probably the only thing different with that one is I have more about blacks in wrestling, and even over in the African continent. I have some of that information in that particular edition. But I would say if there's any one that you have to have, is the third. This third edition also has the tag teams. It has everything from the second.
Mm-hmm.
But yes,
I saw that. The tag teams being included was a very nice touch. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I am one of those people. I don't subscribe to the negative connotations of the New Day. I absolutely love the New Day, but it's also because I understand that gimmick and that name and all of that was their brainchild. It was something that they wanted to do. And so, while yes, there's a side of wrestling that is like, oh, black people in wrestling have to dance. That wasn't the case with the New Day.
Right.
These men are being their authentic selves. This is who they are because if you listen to their podcast, you quickly understand that these gentlemen are silly. That's just who they are.
Right. Right.
So, it like even in the heel phase that they're going through right now, they goofy.
Right.
Like right. That's just them. And so honestly, in WWE, the New Day and the Usos are probably my top. They on my top. My Mount Rushmore of tag teams in wrestling. Because I get that the Young Bucks were supposed to be like the best the best tag team ever known.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I didn't know the Young Bucks from back then. I know the Young Bucks from AEW on forward. And what they've shown me there in my mind, doesn't compare to what I've seen from the New Day and the WWE. I mean, and the Usos, and because we've seen them do some pretty amazing things. Mm-hmm. I can't look at a match from the Young Bucks and say that there's a match that I can recall that gave me that same pop that I've gotten from like an Uso match back in the day, or right. New Day match back in the day. You know what I mean? And it's just Usos, because they were doing things that are currently banned in WWE. Like that they used to do this double kick, and they did it to the New Day. They did it to Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods' body was upside down. One Uso kicked him in the head, and the other Uso kicked him in the body while he was upside down midair. Like, and this was a move that they would do pretty regularly that they can't do anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's spots like that mean, some of the best matches we've ever gotten in Texas wrestling was New Day and Usos to get the book. So it's just it, I'm gonna always and forever champion them both. Going champion them. But I definitely thank you for coming through. Thank you for your time, your patience. I know originally you said, I know it's kind of getting late. I can kind of give you an hour.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Here we are 2 hours.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, the different time zones, it's a little later for me.
Right. Absolutely. Listen, you guys, I want to thank y'all because wouldn't be a Square Conversations if it wasn't for y'all. And we're on our 3rd year and entertaining the idea of starting to do it live for real. And it wouldn't happen without y'all. And so I from the bottom of my heart, man, thank y'all so much. Before you go, I have to ask you, because you were the first person that actually reached out to me and wanted to do this. How did you even find me?
Well, I'm a researcher.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I was doing some research on some wrestling podcast, and yeah, that's how I found you.
Listen, I'm glad that the research pointed you my way, because I tell you what, this was even better. I already knew it was going to be good, but
Yeah,
it was
when
better.
when Kenny said that you reached out to us, I was like, little of us? Like, you reached out to us? I don't think we've ever had anybody reach out to us.
I respect what you guys are doing. Respect for both of you. I appreciate having me on. I appreciate your audience, and I hope I was able to give some information to the audience as well. I definitely would love to come back.
Oh, absolutely. And we're going to make that happen. We are definitely going to make that happen. We're going to make Black Gold Week happen.
Yes.
We're going to make it happen. This will be the Creole's first festival. So I can't wait. I can't wait. I think where we are going to go for rating purposes was let's go to OMJ. She's doing a partner push right now. And I haven't been to a Jess stream in a while. And she was one of the first Twitch nieces that I had on this platform. So we're gonna go see Jess. Let me cue up the raid. Now that first raid message is for followers. That second raid message is for subs. Probably the one that applies to me. And we will definitely see y'all next time. Again, thank y'all so much. And in the words of old bird, we gone.
King Kenny, James Washington was talking, voices loud, I talking, I'm always saying, go! Broadcasting from the west, story from the past. The West was quite so fast. We built to last. Conversation. Wrestling fascination. Heroes in formation. Our shared dedication. Kenny called the shots in the raining lots. Chase connect the dots. Together they are hot. On top they fight. Every episode light. Shining through the night. Everything feels right. Split conversation. Wrestling fascination. Heroes in formation. Our shared dedication.